91.3 KPVU, Prairie View A&M University, the sound of excellence. And I'm excited to be here. My name is Mark Angel, keeping you company here on 91.3 KPVU, Prairie View A&M University. Today we are joined by a leader who is shaping the future of business education and preparing the next generation to lead in a rapidly changing global economy. Dr. Aneika L. Simmons serves as the Dean of the College of Business at Prairie View A&M University, where her vision, leadership, and commitment to innovation are helping to redefine what opportunity looks like to students on the Hill and beyond. Dr. Simmons, thank you so much for joining us and welcome.
Thank you so much. Every time I come here, I feel very welcome. I know we had a conversation last semester, and I'm just honored to be here once again to talk to you and just let you know how much we appreciate you on the campus. You shed light and highlight so many important events and circumstances. So just thank you for all you do.
I really appreciate that. Thank you. And you know, last time we spoke about the Morrill Act.
We did.
The 135th anniversary of the Morrill Act. Mm-hmm. And people can still hear that on 91.3 because we're still celebrating that.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you bringing that education to us. And you were the interim dean at that time.
I was, yeah. I mean, you know, they say time brings about a change, and it definitely does. So I had the honor of serving as a dean interim dean for a year and rolled up my sleeves and moved forward with a lot of efforts and initiatives. And eventually I was asked and given an opportunity to be the permanent dean. And I am absolutely honored to walk in this role under a great time of excellent leadership on campus, great faculty, wonderful students. So I'm pumped about it all.
Super congratulations.
Thank you.
On that. And, you know, you mentioned this time, you know, and I've been hearing that this is a pivotal time because you have the landscape is changing. And what does that mean to you?
I mean, it means a lot. I mean, when you think about it, you know, Prairie View just continues to go on an upward trajectory. So we went from being an R3 to an R2 a few years ago. We know last fall we broke the record of our enrollment of over 10,000 students, which was an amazing occurrence. We've had a winning football team. Our basketball team was in March Madness. It's just really a wonderful time to be at Prairie View A&M University, and I'm just super excited that we have that infrastructure and that system that allows for the College of Business to show that all that it can offer, even down to the court. You know, 3 of the players on the team were from the College of Business, at least 3, and so I think that just shows how even on the court, in the classroom, on the landscape, in terms of what's happening in the state of Texas, Prairie View is playing a strong role. And
now I'm sure that your priorities change from being the interim dean to being the dean.
Right.
What is your priority? How are your priorities ordered these days as the dean?
Absolutely. And, you know, I had some big shoes to fill, and Dean Caduce, who was the dean for over 20 years, and you come in this new role, and it's a lot of change and that type of thing. But what the good news about Prairie View is that we have an excellent strategic plan. So our president has the Journey to Eminence, and you have heard of that. We've all heard of that. And I've been to different other institutions where there may be a strategic plan, but nobody really knows about it. But this strategic plan truly is our guiding light. As the College of Business, we also have a strategic plan that is specific to our college, and we have 5 goals as well. And we have this booklet, and anyone can stop by and come to see it. And it talks about how we're investing in resources and our faculty success and our student success. So I'm a big believer that faculty success and student success are 2 sides of the same coin. So what I want to do is make sure that our students continue to be equipped for the global economy that they're walking into. And as you said, it's quickly changing. So we want to make sure that our students are tooled with all of the technology that is required, the cutting edge information. I know we'll talk a little bit about that later. And then at the same time, make sure that we have faculty that are tooled and on fire as well to make sure that they give the students what they require. So again, I believe that as students do well, our faculty can do well because there's this relationship between them that is critically important. And then as our faculty do well, then that works with our students. And I also want to make sure that I say that one thing I love about Prairie View is our seal. And our seal has what we do: research, teaching, and service. As that elevates, we all elevate together in terms of how we are pursuing that. That is central to our mission, and we keep that before us at all times.
I mean, you mentioned the strategic plan of the university, but also the strategic plan of the College of Business. How do you come up with a strategic plan?
That's a great question. So basically, we understand what the goals are for the university, and we got a steering committee together. And with the steering committee, that includes some of our department heads, some of our assistant deans. I also requested that we had students on. So we had a graduate student, we had some undergraduate students, and we all get together and we work through it. And this was days and hours. So this isn't something that happens overnight. This is lots of investment of time to make sure that we understand where we are going and that we agree. So I provide the vision, what we want to do, and then we come with the consensus together on how we move forward with that. And so it is very clear. We also have an action plan for the year. So you have the university has a strategic plan, the college has one, and then by the year I will put together, and I have put together since I've been in this role, a strategic action plan for the year. And so you execute that. And as you execute that, then you move forward with the plan, the overall plan. So for example, one of them was hiring faculty. So since I've been here, we've hired a human resources faculty member. We have hired an accounting professor. We have hired a supply chain management and an entrepreneurship professor. That's just the professorship, but we've also hired a new individual that provides technical support for the college and so much more. So there's just a lot of growth. I mean, just like you see the student population growing, the growth of the university is parent. Prairie View is just a very, very healthy place to be.
And when you talk about creating this team, how do you know that you've hired the right people?
That's a great question. One thing about me, one thing I love about being at Prairie View A&M University, because like all of us, I've worn different hats. So as you know, I used to work for Accenture. I worked for Capgemini, Ernst & Young. I was staffed at different companies while I was there. I was at ConocoPhillips, all different, different era, different organizations. But one thing I love about being at Prairie View is that the core values of the organization align with my personal core values. So, for example, one of the core values of the College of Business is academic excellence. Well, I believe in that. I believe that excellence makes room for you. I believe that one of the reasons that I've had this opportunity is that excellence is always before me. I want to always do the very best that I can with the gifts and the skill sets that I have and continue to refine. On my way to work, I'm listening to podcasts often, and on the way home, I'm listening to podcasts, not because I have to, but because I want to. I'm the dean of the College of Business, and I love business. My undergraduate degree is in management information systems, and my minor is in finance. My PhD is in org behavior and human resources. So business is what I do, and again, the alignment of the core values and what the mission is of the university and the mission that we have in the College of Business. There's just this clear alignment. In human resources, it's called line of sight. And when you have that line of sight, I think that it makes for a really healthy environment.
So I hear so much right now,
yeah,
and
okay.
One of the things that that you mentioned was some of the companies that you have experience with, and so you bring in the experience of these companies.
Absolutely.
And bringing them here.
Yeah.
How did you connect the Accenture AI opportunity with Prairie View?
Yeah, that was very just a beautiful day. That was February 19th, where we had an opportunity to have Accenture be with us on campus. And it really started with, in May of last year, myself and four partners. I believe all four of them were the first in Houston African-American partners. So we had Terrence G., we had David Wilson, we had Nakai Payne, and we had Heather Jones, who came here on campus in May, and we just started talking. And one of the things that we talked about that I wanted was for us to continue to drill down and provide some additional tooling of artificial intelligence for our students. And we had lots of different conversations, and before we knew it, we had nailed down, and these are busy people. And so we're busy, they're busy, and we were able to nail down a day on February 19th, a Thursday, where I have to tell you, we had about 8 managing partners here on campus. It was amazing. And even as they walked through the door, one of the gentlemen that walked through the door happened to be someone that I went to undergraduate education with. We went to the same university. We had the same major, and I hadn't seen him in 30 years. And here he is coming through the door to help support students at Prairie View A&M University. And basically what happened was I did some opening remarks. Jeff Shaw played a role in helping us all come together in what we were doing. And David Wilson kicked it off. We had Brad Rosia, who also came to talk about innovative consulting management. We had Monica Harris here as well. And basically the students had an opportunity to listen to an AI panel. They learned about AI energy solutions. We had a networking lunch and a student resource session. Students left with an opportunity to get a digital badge. We all know that we want our students to make sure that they have the credentials that are required and that they can show on LinkedIn, for example. We gave away scholarships. There were giveaways. It was a wonderful day. There were over 200 students there. And you guys know students will come to events sometimes and leave by the end of the day. But when I tell you that auditorium in the College of Business was filled from the morning till the end, when it ended at 3 o'clock, it was a profound day. And one of the things, you haven't asked me, but I'll go ahead and tell you, but one of the things that the students said, because we did do a survey, is that they really were in some ways apprehensive about using artificial intelligence, thinking that they may be accused of plagiarism if they used it, thinking that they would be lifting ideas and presenting them as if it was their own. And when they literally saw partners from Accenture showing them how they used it at a refinery on client sites and how it helped and how they were partnering with it, it lifted some of that anxiety. And they realized, wow, this really does make a huge difference in corporations. And I need to learn it not out of fear, but I need to learn it and put it in my tool set to make sure that I know how to use it properly and advance my career in a way that is productive. So I cannot say enough about that day. I posted about it. David, he championed it from the Accenture side. I championed it from the Prairie View side. Of course, we had, Dr. Carolyn Davis was the person who led and did all the details and made sure that we spearheaded in that way. And then, of course, on the Accenture side, it was Tiffany Maxwell who worked on it. So it was just a team effort. It was a team effort, and I am just absolutely delighted about it. And we're already talking about what we're doing next year.
Was there ever any time where maybe early in AI where you had to be convinced that it could be used as a tool?
You know what? So you all know that I do some work on burnout and wellness. And one of the first times I gave a talk on artificial intelligence is when I was asked to do one on how universities and leadership can maintain wellness while pursuing artificial intelligence, just because it was happening so quickly. And a lot of times faculty or staff might be interacting with students who knew more about AI than they did. And there was just a lot of anxiety there. And I put together a presentation. I had a chance to do it with the Texas State system. I believe I would have to look up exactly what it was, but really just talked about wellness and AI. And I think AI grew so rapidly, like it was launched and then not a few months later, it was like millions of people were using it. And so it just kind of, I think, got away from people. And so I think that was a time where I thought, wow, we really need to make sure that we are moving forward with that learning curve and being nimble and making sure that we understand what AI is. And so there was another session that I worked on where we learned how what AI does is it puts together, and it's very complex, but it puts phrases together that you ask, and then based on on all the information that's available. It then predicts what the outcome or what your answer is. So one thing I like to tell the students is that, artificial intelligence can be knowledgeable, but can never be wise. It is something that can give you information, but it can never give you discernment. And so when you're using artificial intelligence, you really need to understand that it is a tool. No matter how it presents itself, it's what's the information that's already there. And you have to make sure that you are using it and prompting it properly to make sure it's being used correctly in an educational setting, in a corporate setting, in the global marketplace.
Sometimes I think about it almost like I try to think back to when the calculator was invented, right? And there were probably some people that felt like if you were using a calculator, you were cheating.
Exactly. That's right. Yeah. And I one of the things I shared with them that day is that, I'm old enough to remember when we first got the internet. And I was telling them that before, when we first got the internet, there were no search engines. The way you use the internet is you had a sheet of paper or a note card with the names of the, the URLs and of the AC, whatever it was. You couldn't just search the way we are now. Search engines changed the internet. And there were people that thought, oh, well, the internet will eventually go away, but now we'll use the internet every day. It's just a part of our lives. And that's the way artificial intelligence is as well.
Did you foresee things becoming like this?
I can't say I foresee it, but I'm not surprised. I am married to a technologist. My husband is also in technology. So it's something that we talk about and look into. And I would just say that, just the way that, human beings are so intelligent and interacting with the technology, it just continues to grow and grow and grow. There was something, so we recently went on a vacation as we do with the kids for spring break. I have 3 young people. And, before we would just do research, but now you just say, based on our relationship and based on the vacations we've done, we typically like to do this, that, and this. This is where we're going. What do you think we should do? And then artificial intelligence just put out a vacation itinerary just like that, where that would have took, days, weeks, whatever to put something together. So it's just that advancement. It just continues to advance. And that's talking about, recreational things. And that same type of thing happens with PowerPoints. Instead of people, spending days and out, putting a PowerPoint together, you say, hey, this is what we want to talk about. This is what we want to do. And you put it in there and it'll just pop right out. So, yeah.
What do you think that it's like? It's almost like freeing you up to be able to do other things.
Yeah.
What are the other things that it's freeing you up to do in business?
Right. Great question. And actually, yesterday we were talking to a gentleman who is an entrepreneur who's starting a business as related to artificial intelligence. This is one thing that we really need to, the thought leaders have to continue to think about, is that when you use artificial intelligence, a lot of that kind of introductory work that people would do when they join organizations, a lot of it can be done by artificial intelligence now. And so what happens is those roles aren't there as in some areas as much as they used to be. And so that means there's a little bit of a gap there where you graduate, and then those entry roles, a lot of it AI can do now. And so then how do you get that skill set that's required for middle management and above, right? And so we're working through that. One thing I can tell you is that the College of Business has an excellent Dean's Advisory Board, and we have some folks on there from ConocoPhillips, from Microsoft, from Deloitte, all different organizations and corporations. And we just had a meeting, an excellent meeting earlier this month in March. And we talk about these things to make sure that we're tooling our students. So you ask a great question. And we're just really working together to understand, to stay ahead of the curve, so we're not catching up, but that we're being intentional and getting ahead of the game to make sure our students have what they need.
Wow. I mean, I know there's so many success stories coming out of the College of Business.
Oh, yeah.
I heard about a young lady, Nia Harrison, who is making an impact. How important is it to you to elevate and invest in student voices and these success stories? Yeah,
I am a big believer in faculty success and student success. And yes, Nia Harris, she did a great job at the University Scholarship Gala a few weekends ago. She also spoke at the top donor reception. She's a Halliburton Rise Scholar. She does work with the Black Coat Ceremony with Dr. Carolyn Davis. And so she does great work. And then there's Eddie Fowler, who's our Executive Vice President for SGA, who also worked and spoke or was highlighted at the PVAMU Scholarship Gala. We have other students like Malik Lee, just so many of them, Kenneth Lee, and they do great work. And so for me, I want to make sure that I have audience with them. And so one of the things that we've revitalized is the Dean Student Advisory organization, and I meet with them and we talk and they let me know what's top of mind for them. How can we partner together? What can we do to make sure that we're being as efficient and as effective as possible as we work together on the work that we're doing for the college? So how important is to elevate and invest? Very important. If you go to our Instagram, which hopefully you guys are following, you'll see that we highlight our students there as well in terms of how they are contributing and moving forward. And we just have so many wonderful success stories. It just really brings a smile. And when you have dedicated staff like Ms. Gordon and Dr. Davis, and then so many of our faculty, Ms. Ford and Holloway, I can't, Harvey, there's so many that do wonderful work with our students, Dr. Zhang, Dr. Bell, that we want to make sure that we continue to let them know that we care and that they have the support that they need whenever it's required.
This is wonderful. Speaking with Dr. Aneika L. Simmons, the Dean of the College of Business, and having this AI conversation is also very interesting because there are a lot of people out there that are almost like scared.
Yeah.
They worried about, AI taking jobs and people losing jobs. Is there anything to be afraid of?
Well, what I would say is that AI is not going. This is the thing that AI cannot do. AI cannot be a critical thinker, like I said, or be innovative and have discernment the way that human beings are. What I would say is refine your craft. So whatever you're doing, you just need to make sure that you make a deep dive in that and that you can be an expert at the thing that you say you're interested in. That's why it's really important to find alignment with what you appreciate and what you enjoy, because with the way that artificial intelligence and technology is now, you have to make sure that you are adding that above and beyond what just a computer can do. And like I said, we've talked about what those things are. A computer can never be wise, but you can be wise based on your experience and making sure that you're surrounding yourself with people and understanding, wise people and people that understand the way that the technology is working and how it's advancing in whatever field you want to do your businesses and your work in. So, for example, our Small Business Development Center, Ms. Speed, who also does great work for us, she was talking about how with some of the business plans and different things that small businesses are working on, that teaching them and working with them on how to use AI, what it's doing is like helping them provide a more comprehensive and thorough approach to the work that they're doing in a shorter period of time. Absolutely. So what's happening is you're being freed up time that to do those base things that AI can do for you. What are you going to do with that other time that's now available? And that is really the $1 million question.
That's what that's what I was asking too.
Yeah.
Like, well, what are you being freed up to do?
Exactly.
I heard this quote that said that everybody has sight, but they may not have vision or something along those lines.
Oh, yes.
Your vision for the College of Business in the next few years, what is it?
Yeah, one of the things that we want to make sure that we do in the College of Business, number one, we stay focused on student success. And you're going to hear me go back to that because I want to make sure that we don't lose sight of the main thing, and that is growing our enrollment numbers, making sure that our students persist, that those that enter, that they exit with a degree and with low debt. We don't want our students to come here and have lots of debt. And those numbers are going down, and we've seen some of those numbers. I think they were even presented at the scholarship gala that we had a couple weekends ago. And so that student success is critical. Then we want to make sure that we bring in our faculty who have the tools that they need to go from assistant to associate to full, so that they can also have a healthy relationship here. But there's there's so many things. What's my vision? Make sure that our students have what they need in terms of artificial intelligence. So our students last summer, they got a Google AI certification through our Summer Bridge program. A good number of our students did that. And now in our professional development course, they're also getting a Google AI certification. So things like that. In terms of transfer students, we've working, and actually last week I was at Blinn University, and last semester I was at Lone Star College. And so making sure that those students have that pathway from where they start to Prairie View in a way that is seamless. So we're working on that. Doing interdisciplinarian work. So last semester, you were there. We had the College of Business Farm Day, which was a super successful event as well, where we had over 100 students spent the day with us, and you played some nice tunes for them, but they had an opportunity to take their ideas and market those ideas. So the entrepreneurs had an opportunity to connect with our marketing professors and make sure that they understood what those business functions were. And so then we had faculty get together to put forth a task force, and they're working on grants and that type of thing. And so the students had an opportunity to have a farm-to-table meal. So I love that experiential learning. So doing things like that are critically important as well. And then growing and making sure that we have a healthy Dean's Advisory Board, which we do, because having that connection in the College of Business with the corporate world is critically important. Having their insights, helping with our curriculum. Just yesterday, I had a managing partner who reached out, like, I want to make sure that I have audience in your classrooms. And I can tell you that in the College of Business, our students last week went to EY and had a visit with them there. A few weeks ago before that, they went to they went to Accenture. We had some other student orgs that, met with some organizations. So that is really, really important, to have that tight relationship, to make sure that, we are moving lockstep with the advances and the way that corporations are moving. And it takes intentionality and a good amount of work.
I mean, real world experience. You are forming some real strong partnerships out there.
Yes.
And as a woman in leadership, what has your journey taught you about navigating in these spaces, in these corporate spaces?
Yeah, I mean, there have been many meetings where I was the only female at the table. I can tell you that at a previous institution, I was the first African-American female to become a full professor in that college. History is as far as is available to me. We have had, as women, have made a lot of advancements. So years ago, for example, less than 5% of women were Fortune 500 CEOs, women I'm talking. But now it's at about 10% or 11%. So there's advancement. I even mentioned recently that it wasn't until 1974 that a married woman could have a credit card without her husband's approval. And I use that as to say that it's not that long ago. But what I can tell you is that there has been a lot of advancement in female leadership. You see it even here at the university in terms of our presidents, in terms of our deans, and about being a woman. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, there's a feeling that, you have to prove yourself in a way that a male may not have to. But what I can tell you is that, again, I believe that excellence makes room for you. And so I walk in appearing the way that I am, the way that I was made. But then once that expertise comes out, all that kind of stuff goes to the side. So I would make sure that ladies continue to be excellent at what they do, always be a continuous learner. And with artificial intelligence and technology and all the changes, and with everything, you got to be nimble. So you can't say, we've done this way and we always will do it. It doesn't work like that. And I would say make sure that you have good people in your circle. For me, I always try to collect good people, and I mean that people that have a heart that is that focused on good and doing well. And I always say I want to use my hands to do good things. I want to use my mind to do good things, and that's one of the reasons, again, that I love being at Prairie View. I love social mobility. I am passionate about that we can take a young person and help elevate them to the next level in their career. And we do that also for our staff and faculty, that people that are work hard, that have that work ethic, that are able to collaborate, and that they have integrity and ethics, and they want to work hard. We want to find spaces for them. And you hear it at our graduations. Our leadership will say, you'll always have a home here at Prairie View. And I believe in that, because there's so many good people that are attracted to the mission and the vision of the university and to the college. And so you can make that a reality in a great space.
And if you were to give some advice to young women who aspire to leadership roles in business, but maybe they're unsure of the path, is there any advice that you can give?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, number one, is never, never, never give up. That's something that I tell myself. Again, I would continue to read hard. I would read books like Grit by Angela Duckworth. That it's that grit that makes the difference. You just that stick-to-itness. You just keep going, no matter what. Even if you have people that are not on your team or have critical things to say, you bloom where you are planted. You work hard, and those doors will continue to open. You make those connections. You talk with people. You make sure that you get out there and go places, to conferences, to events, and to different activities. And we're in Houston. Houston is the fourth largest city in America. So there are so many places in Waller and Prairie View and Houston that you can connect with people and continue to build your skill set. And that's what I would tell them. And there's so many, the leadership on campus that I've seen with the ladies, they are open and welcoming. You guys know that we had the presidential series, a panel discussion last week. It was powerful. And you have these brilliant ladies who are on stage, and a lot of brilliant people in the audience as well. And we just had that dialogue of sharing, and that's that upliftment where we're all coming together so that we all rise. And so just that culture, I think, is incredibly healthy. And so if there's a young lady that's seeking leadership, I would say continue to press forward and to never give up, and continue to build your skill set no matter where you are.
That is amazing. Dr. Aneika L. Simmons. As Dr. Simmons, what would you say to young Aneika?
Wow. What would I say to young Aneika? I think I was asked that question recently. But one thing that I will say, a couple things. First of all, I was born to two teenagers, with which it shaped me in some way. But I do have to tell you that my parents did marry, and they've been married for over 50 years. But that circumstance, I think, made me be like a very person who likes to plan out a lot of things and just make sure that I am planning and moving forward always. And I do want to continue to move forward. But I would tell the young Aneika to maybe, it's okay to plan, but at the same time, you can let some things kind of take place in an organic way. So I might tell myself that if I was younger. And another thing that I might have mentioned as well is that I'm a person of peace, and I love to always have peace within myself, with others, and of course, with the God I serve. And I want to tell my younger self that peace and harmony may not always be the same thing. And when you're working in circumstances where there's a lot of change and there's a lot that's taking place, you don't want harmony at all costs. What I mean is, sometimes when you're moving forward and you're having to make modifications, there might be a little bit of tension. There might be a little bit of disagreement, but that's okay, because we have that same goal in mind. We will eventually get there. And I think that a young Aneika would say, hey, I just want peace, whatever it takes. But I think an older Aneika would say, well, sometimes you have to kind of, there may be moments where we don't have that 100% harmony that you always want as you're tweaking to get to the location and the destination that you have in mind. I hope that makes sense.
That makes total sense.
Okay,
It makes total sense. One word or phrase that defines your leadership style?
One word. I would say that, first of all, my leadership style is human-centered. So I care about doing the work while also being aware and keeping mindful of people's well-being, which is important to me. But I would like to be, and I believe I am, a transformational leader where I come in and make change. I come in and take us to that next level. And that's what I'm doing and want to continue to do. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do that here with so many great people in the College of Business.
Dr. Aneika L. Simmons, if anybody wants to get in contact with the College of Business, want to get more information about the College of Business, want to get more information about the dean and your leadership and innovation, where can they look and find that information?
Well, I'm in the ag business over there. I'm on the fourth floor. You come in through the elevators, go down. First of all, I have an open door policy, so if you want to come and chat with me, you can do that. My email address is alsimmons@pvmu.edu. My esteemed assistant is Ramona Morris, and we are available, and we are here to help our students and to continue to move the ball forward for the College of Business, and we're just honored to do so.
We appreciate your work, the work that you're doing, your impact, and everything that you're doing at Prairie View A&M University, shaping the future business leaders. And once again, our guest has been Dr. Aneika L. Simmons, Dean of the College of Business at Prairie View A&M University. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure.